I'm talking about the end of everything as we know it. No more birds, no more trees, and perhaps most problematically of all, no more people. You have to put an end to her. Don't linger on the specifics. You have a job to do here. Just get in there and do what needs to be done. We're all counting on you. While I appreciate the mental exercise, we are running up against a bit of a ticking clock. Nevertheless, let me assure you, the princess is locked up because she's dangerous. She is not dangerous because she's locked up. And before you decide to waste even more of our time by asking how I know that, let me suggest a more pragmatic lens through which to view this situation. Causality doesn't matter here, because the end result is the same no matter what led us up to this point. If the princess leaves the cabin, the world will end, and there is no changing that. It's no use arguing semantics over a metaphorical chicken or egg, because the egg is hatched and it's about to ruin everything. Unless, of course, you do your job and slay her. You make your way up the short path to the cabin. You'll find the princess within. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. We're not going to go through with this, right? She's a princess. We're supposed to save princesses, not slay them. Ignore him. He doesn't know what he's talking about. The interior of the cabin is almost entirely bare. The air is stale and musty, and the floor and walls are painted in a fine layer of dust. The only furniture of note is a plain wooden table. Perched on that table is a pristine blade. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. You take the blade from the table. It'd be rather difficult to slay the princess and save the world without it. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing a staircase faintly illuminated by an unseen light in the room below. This is an oppressive place. The air feels heavy and damp, a hint of rot filtering from the ancient wood. If the princess really lives here, slaying her is probably doing her a favor. Her voice carries up the stairs.
Who's there?
She sounds dangerous. It's almost as if she's the one in charge down here. Don't let it fool you. It's all part of the manipulation.
Oh, it's been so long since anyone's come down here. I was starting to think they'd forgotten about me.
You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. There's a heavy chain around her wrist, binding her to the far wall of the basement. She's so coldly beautiful. Is she really a threat to the world? Focus on the task at hand.
And there you are. Are you here to kill me or something? Then why did you bring a knife with you? How about you drop it, and then we can chat?
She makes a compelling point. What if we just dropped the blade and talked? Look at her. It's not like she's a threat. Don't you dare. It's fine. We can decide what we want to do after we talk to her. Maybe she really is a monster, a killing someone in cold blood isn't very becoming of us. You ignore the trembling in your hands and tighten your grip on the blade.
You poor thing. Your hands are shaking. Are you scared of me? Because you should be.
You step forward, your grip on the blade tightening as you steel your resolve.
I'm probably chained up in this basement for a reason, right? And if that knife is the only weapon you have, you'll have to get close enough to use it. So, you should just drop it. Best not to risk finding out what I can do.
She's unarmed. If you hesitate now, it'll be too late. End this. You're so close. Don't give up. You've come this far. No, this is a good idea. Maybe we can de-escalate things.
Oh, threatened, are we? You poor thing. Drop the knife, and of course we can talk.
The blade tumbles out of your trembling hands and drops to the floor with an unceremonious clang.
Thank you. Maybe now we can just talk.
Against your better judgment, you step forward to speak with the princess face to face, unarmed. We'll be fine. I don't know what you're hoping to accomplish here, but I can assure you there's no reasoning with her. Just make sure you don't forget about the blade on the floor. You're going to need it.
So here we are. What an awkward start to a relationship. I know. I just said that. Now why are you here to kill me?
Don't just tell her that.
That's cute. Do you believe that? Do you think I'm some sort of monster? If I'm supposed to be capable of ending the world, then how did I wind up here, chained to a wall? Have they told you why I'm allegedly so dangerous? Ending the world seems like an awful lot for just one person to do. I wouldn't even know where to start.
I believe her. She doesn't have to know how to destroy the world to be capable of doing it.
At the end of the day, whatever the two of us have going on down here is about trust. Whoever sent you to slay me claimed I was a threat to the world, but they didn't tell you why. That doesn't sound right to me. And I don't think it sounds right to you either. Otherwise, we'd be killing each other instead of talking.
She has a point. There's a reason I've been telling you to question the situation, and there's a reason you've listened.
So, I could tell you that I'd lead a quiet life in the woods, or that I'd open an orphanage, or that I'd do any other number of good things that I'm sure you think you want to hear. But you don't really know me, do you? What can my word possibly be worth in a situation like this?
She's right about one thing. Her word isn't worth anything.
Like I said, it's all about trust. Blind trust. So do you trust me, the prisoner, the victim, the princess clearly incapable of ending the world? Or do you trust whoever put me here?
She's wrong. This isn't about trust. This is about risk. We stand to lose everything, all for the sake of one person, and a subjugating monarch no less. You can't. Don't bother.
I'm guessing you don't have the key then. I'm sure there's a key somewhere around here, and if there isn't... well, we can always put that knife to good use.
Her sharp eyes settle on the edge of the blade. She isn't suggesting what I think she's suggesting, right? She is. I'm sure of it. She hesitates before answering.
You can address me as Your Royal Highness, or Her Majesty. Any honorific should do, really.
Again, she offers no specifics. No matter how hard you try, you'll never get a straight answer out of her.
Too long. Oh, have you decided what to do with me?
You know why you're here. Oh, you have to be kidding me. You walk up to the chains binding the princess to the wall and give them a tug. They're large and heavy, far too solid for you to even imagine trying to break them apart.
If you don't have the key, maybe you should go looking for it. I'm sure it's somewhere upstairs.
Doubtful. Whoever locked the princess away down here intended for her to never see the light of day. They wouldn't have just left the key to her chains somewhere in the cabin.
That would be fine. I can lose an arm.
She speaks with almost complete nonchalance. If we were stuck down here for long enough, I'm sure we'd be nonchalant about cutting our way out. Anything to finally be free. You attempt to make your way out of the basement, but the door at the top of the stairs slams shut. You hear the click of a lock sliding into place. Is someone else here? You try the door, but it's locked from the outside. You're here to slay the princess, and you won't leave until the task is done. You make your way back to the bottom of the stairs. This would have been so much easier if you'd simply slain her like you were supposed to. Easier for whom? Easier for everyone.
I heard the door slam. They locked you down here too, didn't they? The knife. Pick it up and cut me out of here.
You won't like what happens if you do that. Against your better judgment, you place the blade against the princess's arm, just above the massive, unyielding chain. You cut into her flesh. The blade is sharp, and you make quick work of it. Before long, you're able to crack through bone, and she pulls the bleeding stub of her arm through the iron gauntlet. She didn't so much as utter a sound. Free from her bindings, the princess turns to face you, her fierce gaze meeting your eye. How is she so composed after losing an arm? It's like she isn't even bothered by it.
Thank you. Now let's get out of here.
No, we won't have any of that. The stakes are too high. You can't just let her escape into the world. No, I just can't let her escape into the world. As the princess approaches the bottom stair, your body steps forward and raises the blade. Wait, This isn't fair. You can't just do that. Watch me. Stop that.
I thought this was a little too easy.
Your body lunges forward to sink the blade into her back, but the princess swiftly moves out of the way before you can connect. Stop it. Stop resisting me. I am trying to get you out of here alive. The blade. Move the blade.
You're doing your best to help me, aren't you? I can see the conflict in your eyes. I'll make this quick.
She steps forward and pries the blade from your rigid hands.
Maybe I'll see you in another life.
And then she slits your throat with an almost clinical ease. Her face remains unchanged as she watches you collapse to the ground, blood flowing from your butchered neck. This is the end, isn't it? I'm afraid it is. Everything goes dark, and you die. I hope it was worth it. You're on a path in the woods, and at the end of that path is a cabin. And in the basement of that cabin is a princess. You're here to slay her. If you don't, it will be the end of the world. It hasn't. Or if it has, I certainly haven't been a part of it. We've just met for the first time, you and I. Don't forget what he did to us the last time around. I wouldn't trust a word out of his mouth. There's got to be a way out of here, for us and for the princess. We just have to keep trying. I'm inclined to agree. If he doesn't remember what happened last time, maybe it's best to keep it that way. You know I can hear you two, right? It's going to be a lot harder than you think to keep secrets from me. And as far as trying to help her goes, need I remind you how catastrophically dangerous she is to the world at large? I told you about the stakes of this situation less than a minute ago. Those are two very different questions, but fine, I'll indulge you if that's what it takes to get you moving. Let's say for a moment that this really is the second time you've met me, or at least a version of me. If you're back here, I'm assuming you died, which probably only happened because you didn't listen to me. The absolute irony. Well, that's one way to put it, I guess. You really don't remember what happened last time, do you? You practically forced the princess to kill us. That doesn't sound like the sort of thing I'd do, which is honestly all the more reason for you to not buy into whatever self-delusions the three of you are crafting. But this is a thought experiment, so I suppose I'll continue to give you the benefit of the doubt. If I did practically force the princess to kill you, it was probably for a good reason. Did you try and free her? Did you say something really mean to me? Because if I really did what you said I did, you probably deserved it. I'm a professional, after all. Sure you are. Anyway, I believe your second question was, what's the point of doing anything? If you're asking that, it sounds to me like you're making the rather dangerous assumption that your actions last time around didn't have any consequences. What do you mean? Of course there weren't any consequences. You forced the princess to kill us and now everyone's right back where they started. That sounds pretty consequence-free to me. Yes, but in this purely hypothetical scenario, that begs the question of how you got back here. Did time simply rewind itself, or were you instead transported to a different world entirely? If it's the latter, what do you think happened after you died? Do you think the people there lived happily ever after? Or do you think that the princess, left unhindered, brought about the end to everyone and everything, just like I told you she would? What a conveniently ambiguous group of things for her to ruin. For all we know, the princess left the cabin and never saw another soul. Oh, how I wish that were the case, but if the princess weren't a certain, inevitable threat to the world, the four of us wouldn't be here. And yet, here we are. You're talking in circles. No, I'm talking in facts. A warning before you go any further. She will lie, she will cheat, and she will do everything in her power to stop you from slaying her. Don't believe a word she says. Yes, don't believe a word she says. Just go in, take the knife, and do what you're supposed to. Wink. Did you just say wink out loud? No, I didn't. Wink. Just ignore this clown and focus on the princess. The interior of the cabin is less a cozy woodland retreat and more like a dungeon. A few pathetic wisps of starlight attempt to illuminate the cold, uninviting stone walls, and thick, wrought iron bars barricade the windows, reminding anyone who enters that this is a prison. The only furniture of note is an iron table, bolted to the floor, a pristine blade perched on its edge. The blade is your implement. You'll need it if you want to do this right. Very different. Yes, but why? Did he change it? Or did it change all on its own? Maybe it's a different cabin entirely. Now isn't that a novel thought? Maybe you haven't actually been here before. I hope this means you'll finally drop your ridiculous past life nonsense. You haven't died, and you certainly haven't been killed by the princess. So focus up. Don't get distracted by minor details. He definitely did not. Does a mirror not count as furniture of note to you? Because it should. There isn't a mirror. There's a table, the blade sitting on the table, and the door to the basement. There's nothing else in here. There's definitely a mirror. There isn't. I think you know what we have to do. Walk up to the wall next to the basement door. It's a wall. There isn't much to see here. This really isn't funny. You reach forward and rub your hand against the cabin wall. I hope you know how ridiculous you look right now. But it was there a second ago. And now it's gone. If he doesn't want us to know about it, it must be important. We should keep our eyes peeled. Maybe it'll be back. You take the blade from the table. It will be difficult to slay the princess and save the world without a weapon. Good idea. Much better to be armed than to go in with blind hope alone. The door to the basement creaks open, revealing an old stone staircase. A few sputtering torches attempt to vaguely illuminate your path, dancing across glimmering patches of slimy moss on the stone steps. If the princess lives here, slaying her would probably be doing her a favor. Her voice, harsh but controlled, carries up the stairs.
Is that a visitor I hear? Please, come downstairs. It's been a while since I've had company.
Does she remember us? You walk down the stairs and lock eyes with the princess. She looks up at you, the heavy collar around her neck clanking loudly as she moves, the chains binding both her wrists to the far wall, joining the metallic chorus as she adjusts her hands in her lap. So much for cutting her out of here. Do you hear yourself right now? Cutting her out of here never should have been on the table. Have you noticed the empty chain on the wall? Odd that in a place where everything seems to serve a distinct purpose, there would be something so obviously useless. That was there last time too, wasn't it? It was.
What an interesting development. Why don't you have a seat? The two of us should chat before you bury that thing in my heart.
You step towards the princess, but she stops you before you get too close, holding up one shackled hand.
There's fine. I'd prefer we keep some distance until we've sorted this out.
That's reasonable. We do have a weapon. Might as well put her at ease.
Do you think this is a game? Do you think these chains take away my say in things?
As you move towards the princess, she stands, her chains clinking as she wraps them around her fists. In an instant, they're around your neck, both of you dropping to the ground as she pulls them taut, bracing her body against yours as you struggle uselessly. The metal chains constrict around your windpipe as the princess heaves with a muscled intensity.
Drop the knife or you die.
What is she doing? We weren't trying to attack her. I can see where she might have gotten the wrong idea. She doesn't have much agency here. Would we have trusted her if the roles were reversed? I don't know. How about we think about the nuances of interpersonal relationships when we're not being strangled? How many times did I warn you she's not to be trusted? But while strangulation can be very distracting, she's not armed, and you have your pristine blade. End her before she ends you. As your weapon falls pathetically to the floor, the princess releases you from her stranglehold, shoving you away with a swift kick. Your hands test the bruised flesh of your neck as you regain your senses, watching with a dazed expression as the princess snatches up the blade.
That wasn't so hard, was it?
She pulls up her hair, smiling slightly, as she raises the blade to her throat.
You can stay right where you are for this next part.
What is she doing? She doesn't say another word as she cuts into her own neck. No! Her eyes stare forward, unblinking, as she saws through skin, veins, cartilage. At last she reaches bone, the blade grinding audibly against her vertebra as it continues to slice its way through her neck. I'll be damned. She's actually doing your job for you. Why would she do that? Huh. So that's her play. Killing herself? She isn't dead yet. Finally, you hear a snap. Her eye twitches. There's an uneasy silence. She remains motionless for a long moment, her twitching eye the only movement in the room, until at last it stops in an unsettling half-wink. Her head twists slowly to the side, flopping to her shoulder, and her neck opens. The remaining tissue is not enough to hold the weight of her severed head. It stretches and tears until finally it falls to the floor, completely free. It bounces a few times before rolling to a stop at your feet. Oh no, oh no, oh no, what did we do? Can we put it back? Please tell me we can put it back. The princess's eyes stare up at you. Dead. Congratulations! You saved the world.
Huh. So I guess that's it. What a way to go. But she is gone, isn't she?
I hate this. Can we just get out of here now, please? Of course, the princess is slain and the world is saved. Whenever you're ready, you can proceed to your reward.
Now hold on, she's dead. So what's the rush? What's your angle?
I don't have an angle. I'm just looking forward to putting all this behind us. I'm sure you can understand that.
Look, I'm just not ready to put my guard down. It's best to keep sharp. She wouldn't have done all that without some kind of a reason. She's left us with this dangling thread, and I need to know why.
You're just wasting your energy. The danger has passed, and now we can all relax and enjoy your reward. Ugh, fine. You pick up the princess's severed head, its neck stump still oozing bodily fluids. Then make your way back upstairs to the first floor of the cabin.
Did you see that? I could have sworn she moved.
She didn't. She's dead. But what if she's not? Are you listening to yourself? Do I need to explain to you why decapitation is lethal? The door to your bountiful reward is right in front of you. All you have to do is open it. You open the cabin door, ready to return to a world saved from certain doom. Only a world saved from certain doom isn't what you find. Instead, what you find is... Wait, no, that's not right.
Well played.
This is the end of the world, isn't it? I always thought I'd at least have time to explain myself before I had to watch it happen, but it's already... over? Is he gone?
But we're still here. Maybe it wasn't the end of the world after all. Maybe it was just the end of his.
Thanks for carrying me up here. I had to take it on faith that you would know what to do. I'm glad I was right to trust you. So, this is the outside. Maybe it's just my lack of body, but it's colder than I expected.
She's gone. Where did she go? Should we try and find her? He is. Does that mean the world ended?
It must have. Do any of us know what the world ending is supposed to look like? If there's even a her to find anymore.
You're right. She's gone. It's just us and that awful thing. There's something dreadful about it. I don't think you should.
You're right. Part of me wants the truth, but something stronger is holding me back. Fear.
I'm begging you, don't do this. It's different now. It feels... I don't know. Final.
Something finds me in the long quiet and brings me the gift of a fragile vessel. How can the world have ended if we are talking? I have only just now stirred to consciousness. I could not have trapped you here, and I too yearn to be free. You are the only thing I have ever known. The space we're in is vacant. Nothing comes here but us. She is part of me, and part of me is her. Yes, nerves and fibers to feel the worlds beyond, perspectives to make my own. This one is cold and cynical. She has protected herself when others could not. She will make for a clever heart. Do not mourn her. She doesn't need to be protected any longer. You are familiar, but you are not me. I feel sadness, longing, hope as I witness you. Nothing as we are, but I know that there are worlds beyond us, and that we are meant to reach them. There is no exit, but this vessel is a creature of perception. She can make you forget, if only you believe her to be able to. Bring me more perspectives so that I may be whole, and perhaps then we will know our freedom. Then we will be here forever, as we are now, unfinished, dry, hollow. You ask of things that cannot be done. To destroy is merely to reshape, to remold. More than you have found, but less than there are to find. I am infinite. The rest will find their own way home. She asks that I tell you to remember her. You won't.